Honored to be here and tell you about an amazing offering that we're having now at the Ignite Hub. We have a full lineup, and this is the kickoff to our programming. So we at the Ignite Hub are going to be able to offer coaching and career workshop series. They are hybrid. It's open, it's free. So we have our first topic today. This is, like I said, just that means any exploring a career in technology, they want to get their foot in, but they need that extra support of a plan. How am I going to get there? So that's the services that we will be providing through Career Catchers, which has a wonderful reputation here in Montgomery County, very familiar with our community and our needs. So we're very excited that we're going to be able to partner together on that. With that, I just wanted to welcome everybody and let you know that oh, thank you. That we are ready to start. We have Kunda here. If you'd like to make it's no pressure. I totally put you on the spot. If you'd like to say some words, it's okay to say no, or I can just turn it right over to our presenter today, Maria Dent Turner, who is going to talk with us about the job of finding a job. So thank you.
Good afternoon. I've been saying good morning for a little bit longer than I should have. So welcome to our workshop, The Job of Finding a Job. We want to present it as a code cracker. So we're hoping that the information that we provide to you today will make your job search that much easier, more expedient. It'll take some of the guesswork out of it. I told him he's going to be able to solve the seventh wonder of the world today, take over the world. So we're hoping that the information that you receive will be helpful. So without further ado, I'll go to the next slide. So the importance of cracking the code, if you will, helps you to navigate a lot more expediently to securing a job. A lot of times people think that when you're looking for a job, all you have to do is upload your resume and that's all there is to it, you know? So upload, click, wait for your offer. I wish it was that easy. It is not. So we wanted to just present some of the things that you can do to help navigate through that process a lot easier. So the topics that we're going to cover today is getting started. How do I get started with this whole process? Preparing for the job market, leveraging online job boards, networking strategies, following up, creating a plan, and handling rejection, because it is an emotional time for most. So on the next slide, you'll see getting started. So a lot of times people are not really sure what type of job they're looking for. They're not really sure, you know, the best career for them. They go by what their family says. Oh, you should be an accountant. Oh, you should be a mathematician. You should be a nurse. And a lot of times they take what their friends and family tell them rather than just doing a little soul searching. In one of my slides, I like, it's a quote by Confucius. If you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. So you want to take the moment, the time, especially if you have the luxury like today, to stop and really think about what you're trying to do with your future. So by assessing what your skills are, what your strengths are, what your interests are, it helps to narrow down all your choices, correct? And also you are more than welcome to take notes. At the end of the session, we're going to send some resources to you to follow up. And hopefully we'll be able to, you know, take a look at some of them today. So being able to understand who you are, what drives you, what are your interests, what skills do I currently have that I can leverage into another career. Everybody has some transferable skills. Who knows how to use computers? Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel. You know how to use computers? That's a transferable skill that any industry would love to have, right? So sometimes people say, well, all I know how to do is customer service. That's a transferable skill that you can use in any industry. Because even if you're working in an office, you are working with customers. Your customer could be the next department. Your customer could be a colleague, you know. So customer service is useful anywhere. It is, it's interpersonal skills. It's your ability to communicate. So when you think about what you bring to the table and you say, well, I want to do something different, I'm not quite sure how that's going to happen, an assessment will take you to different levels where you can look at your interest, take an interest profiler. You can take a personality assessment. You can take a skills assessment. So these different assessments help you to narrow down, well, these are the skills I have. What industry is interested in these skills? And you can start investigating that industry, and you can start doing some research, you can start applying. So what industry are you interested in?
Data analytics.
Okay, do you have background in IT?
No.
Okay. Excellent, so do I. Yep. So, but transferable skill. See him right here today, right? It's a transferable skill. And so being able to teach can take you to different levels. You might be able to teach at some point in data analytics. You may have to teach your staff, like our data analyst does. He has to teach us how to enter the data. He has to be able to put it in a consumable fashion so that we can understand how to enter the data, analyze the data, and so forth. So everyone uses data analytics. So you can find a job which is a computer skill, transcends all the industries, correct? So what do you do? Mm-hmm.
I'm like a hobbyist programmer.
Okay.
So I enrolled in Montgomery College so I could try to get like a degree behind it.
Excellent.
So,
Doing what you love, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. That's what helps you get up in the morning. When I did the first job that I loved and I couldn't believe they were paying me for it, that's when I knew that that's where I should be, right? So that's how you could even do an informal self-assessment. I would tell people, what did you want to do when you were 10 years old? Did you know what you wanted to do then?
Yeah, I think I want to be a professional soccer player.
Okay. Okay. And then you know what? A lot of times people return to those passions when they get older. You know, I know when I was younger, I wanted to work with animals. I wanted to teach dance and aerobics. I did those things, but I wasn't making money at it. So, but when I think about my next career, I can go and do that. What I love doing is helping people, you know, get from point A to point B. Doesn't matter what I'm helping them understand. That's my passion. So, okay, so we can go to the next slide. So we're going to give you some links in our resources to what websites you can go to. There's so much information. I was just trying to give you a tidbit of information and places to go while you're looking at your what's next, right? So we're going to give you the links to do research on your industry. We're going to give you links to do research on yourself. So we'll give you the interest profiler for My Next Move. It helps you to narrow down your interests, and then you can find jobs based on interest. If you did the personality assessment, I love that one. People skip it all the time. If you've ever gone to the MBA and you ask yourself, why are they working here? They do not have the personality for this job. They didn't do a personality assessment. And what I tell people is that you're not finding a career is finding you when you end up in a job that you don't like. Because your mother said, you're an accountant, or your father said, you're a nurse, you know? So you want to be able to make informed decisions. And that's why we're giving you all this information here. So we'll give you a link to a personality assessment where you can, it'll give you a report and says, based on this is your personality. This is the type of job that you would probably love based on your personality. Then you have skills assessments. Based on all the skills you have, these are the employers that are looking for these skills, right? and based on, what I say, personality, interests, skills, and they're all free. You just go online and you pump in your information. A lot of times they take no more than 15 minutes. Some take 5. But what I have provided is an assessment for your interest in IT. So that's the one we're going to look at today. And we're going to go there. If you all have your phones, I tried to do a QR code, didn't do so well at that. So this is the assessment. It's on CompTIA. Everybody's heard of CompTIA, CompTIA, however you want to say it. This is a career quiz. If you're looking for a career change, you can take this and you will, I think it just takes about 5 minutes. I did it. My kids interrupted me a couple of times, so I guesstimated it was about 5 minutes. And so we'll just take a few minutes to implement this and see what it comes up with. Hopefully it's data analytics for you. And what is yours? Code crashing? Programming.
Hello, are we taking it now, right?
This is where we need lo-fi music. No, I'm not putting you to task. I know. I usually have lo-fi hip hop and it's nice, mellow. The first one finished wins a prize. When you finish this, they'll send the results to your email and it'll give you a quick synopsis of the results. You done? Oh, you win. This beautiful Ignite Hub pen. It's all yours.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So what does yours say?
That says cybersecurity.
Okay. Okay, that's still analytics, right? On some level,
Yeah.
because you gotta, I don't know, I'm not the IT guru. I know a little bit about it. But I've learned from students and people that I've coached. They've taught me a lot about IT, just enough to be dangerous. So that's cool. So are you enrolling in classes as well already?
Yes.
Cool. That
Starting
must be exciting.
Next Tuesday.
Okay. I've been trying to convince my kids to go into IT. I was like, you're missing the boat. You need to jump on. Yeah. Trying to get them involved. You can go to the next. You can go to the next slide. Próximo, por favor. I'm going to give you all a couple more minutes. And I don't want to be too distracting, but I would like to introduce some more topics so we can get through everything today. So you can continue with your assessment. It doesn't take much longer. So the next topic, which involves your assessment and the results of your assessment, is it helps you to identify industries, jobs, positions, titles, however you want to put it. But it helps you to do that informed decision, as I said. So when you have the results from your assessments, and it says you should be a juggler or you should be a lion tamer, you can go to various websites and look up what lion tamers make. Who's employing lion tamers? Are they in demand? What level of education do you need to be a lion tamer? I think liking lions is one. So, so you can research the industry. And as I said, do a job you love, you'll never work a day in your life. You know, a passion drives you, something you would do for free if money was no object. That's an informal assessment. But these formal assessments will help you to narrow it down. So, you know, I love IT. I love computers. Not sure where I want to go in that, but based on some of the things that you put in that last assessment, will kind of give you an idea of, based on your interest or based on your aptitude, this would probably interest you. So you want to also do a deeper dive. You don't want to just say, okay, that's what I'm going to do. So you want to go to the labor market industries websites. So we have the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, the government agency that crunches all the numbers, you know, and they tell you who's hiring, who's not, what's in demand, what's petering out, what's your earning ability based on different levels of education. So that way, when you're going into a field or an industry, you know that you've done all your research and there won't be coming anything out from left field. I had a training program one time and I had information sessions, and everybody came to the information session to be a certified nursing assistant. And I would have about 30, 40 people in my information session. And as I started to do them more often, I realized that the people attending the information session had no idea what certified nursing assistants did. They just heard there's a scholarship, so they would come. So I realized I had to give them this labor market information. This is your earning potential. This is the level, this is who's going to hire you. So primarily it would be nursing homes. At that time, it was minimum wage, basically. With a little experience, you could pump it up a little bit. But for the most part, they didn't have any of that information. They just heard free training. Then I showed them a video of what a certified nursing assistant does in a day. And they were like, wait a minute, bedpans? No, I didn't sign up for that. No bedpans, no. And then there was some people who religious restraints might not have allowed them to maybe bathe a man. You know, how do you feel about bathing a man? You know, is that possible? How could you work around it? It's not impossible, but who would hire me if I had those kind of restrictions? So that's the kind of information you need to think about, not just because everybody's doing it. Everyone wants to be a cybersecurity analyst, but they don't know what's involved because somebody said, do it. It's, you know, you can make money. And so when you do these assessments, you take that information, you research the industry. Can you survive off of what they're paying you, straight out the gate? Will that support your family? Will it pay your bills? Do you need to look at it differently? Well, what can I do? How long will I have to earn this before I can earn more? The wonderful thing about IT, you have stackable credentials. You can start out, say, A+, Network Plus, right? Then you say, and you work a little bit, help desk or something like that, right? While you're still working, you get another certification, get Security Plus, put on top of that, right? So I always say, you learn more, you earn more. You learn more, you earn more. Those are stackable credentials, and you don't leave your education with a $75,000 student loan. These credentials you can get in IT are very affordable for the average person, right? So you need to do this kind of research. How long is it going to take me to get here, to get there? I've worked with people, they've been in the industry 4 years, 5 years, came in with a bachelor's degree, had about 3 certifications, $175,000 was his minimum. He was like 28. When I stopped crying, I said, you got a great career ahead of you, right? It is so possible, right? It really, I believe you're limited by your own imagination. If you don't see it, programs like this I like because it helps you navigate. How can I do this? It's specifically for that reason, right? So that is really, a winning point about this program. Okay, so you're going to study the market demands. You can go through. And with that, you will look at preparing for the job market, tailor your resume to the announcement. When you identify what it is you want to do, I want to be a entry level, just get my foot in the door. There are some programs you can get into that role, but you want to look at the resume that you are sending for that particular job. So say you've done your training, you have your certification, you're looking at job announcements. You want to tailor that resume to the job announcement by holding the job announcement up next to your resume. If they're asking for a blue-haired old lady who can juggle, and that's you, your resume should say, I'm a blue-haired old lady who can juggle, right? So you want to speak the language of the employer because that's how you get their attention. So you don't want to just send out a blanket resume that says the same thing for different jobs because you're not speaking to the employer, right? And your cover letter, I like the cover letter because you can talk a little bit about yourself on a professional level that you can't do in your resume, right? So we have information for all this. You're going to get an outline of the topics, and you'll get the resources that go with these topics. But think about that. You want to tailor your resume to the announcement. You want to use the cover letter to further market your skills, give them an idea of who you are, and try to set yourself apart. So that's one of the main things you want to do in your job search. So one way to get information about the career you're going into and skills that you want to promote, ONET is a government-supported, government-owned website. It's ONET Online. And in ONET, you can put any field or any title that you're interested in the search bar. And it'll give you a whole plethora of information. It is so exhaustive. You can use it throughout your career. Before you find a job, while you're looking for a job, while you're looking at education for careers that you want to explore, ONET is a perfect resource for that. As it says, you can base that on your skills, your interests, and your experience. And the assessments that you take will help you identify what is a good match for you. Also connected to this is another website we use called My Next Move. My Next Move is an interest profiler. They have an interest profiler that can help you identify what your interests are. And then once you do that, the results will say, these are the jobs that are good for you. So you can go to this website, You can plug in any one of the careers that you might be thinking about, that might be suggested to you, and you can get so much information about it. So you'll also get that website and you can go and explore. And like I said, you'll use this throughout your whole entire career. I've been using this since 2009, I think, 2009. And I go to it all the time. It helps you pull up skills that you want to market. It'll say if you're looking for this kind of job, these are the skills that are required. If you have those skills, they should be in your resume, right? So this really helps you to make sure that you're making that informed decision. Okay, so ONET Online, you'll get that one too. Even if you type in ONET, it'll take you there. It'll give you all of the information you need for that. So the next thing, we have talked about assessments, and we've talked about tailoring our resume, and we've talked about our interests and things like that. Once you have gotten to the point where you have narrowed down what it is you want to do, and you have your general resume and your resume tailored to that job, you're going to want to go to the, I don't want to say popular, but effective job boards that are out there. And I just chose these as common job boards that most of my clients use. And these are just some of them. I really want to push Maryland Workforce Exchange, but that'll be in another workshop. That's a workshop within itself. But Maryland Workforce Exchange, what I like about that is that it pulls all of the job board information together in one location. So in Maryland Workforce Exchange, looking under job search, you'll find postings from Indeed because it tells you their source. They'll say they got it from Glassdoor, they got it from Indeed, they got it from USA Jobs, they got it from Career Builder, they got it from the corporate website. There's a company that all they do is populate the jobs for Maryland Workforce Exchange. So I like it because it's one-stop shopping. You can upload your resume and you can do one-click applying. So I do like MWE. Okay, so these are some popular websites. And what I wanted to do is make sure that I did talk about the statistics behind LinkedIn and some of the other workshops. And I had to write it down because my memory isn't what it used to be. LinkedIn is a professional network platform that also offers an extensive job board. It's particularly useful for IT professionals, as many companies and recruiters actively use this platform to find talent. And the statistics, I quote, is, with more than 58 million companies listed on the site and 52 million people searching for jobs on LinkedIn every week, it's no surprise to find that 77% of the recruiters use LinkedIn regularly. So a lot of times people think, oh, LinkedIn's too much. Oh, I can't do LinkedIn. Well, we have classes on that. Everybody has classes on how to use LinkedIn and get started. But it is so productive because the recruiters use it while you're sleeping. And they're looking for people and they're looking for keywords and so forth. They're looking for people just because you uploaded and created a profile. So that is one of the main things that you would like to do, right? Glassdoor is another one. You can get information on salaries. You can get feedback from some of the people who said, oh, I've worked for, I worked for Starbucks and I loved it. They treat people great. They have great benefits. So you're hearing from the person who worked there. So that is a great thing for Glassdoor. Salary requirements, and they also have job postings, right? And Simply Hire as well. Simply Hire is one of the websites that I'm not as familiar with, but it was used often for IT jobs. So that is something that you want to do. Glassdoor is another prominent and trusted platform for job searching. It provides job listings, insights to company reviews, salaries, interview experiences, and so forth. So, and of course, everyone knows Indeed. So those are just a few of the commonly used job boards. And there is an exhaustive list, but these are the ones that are used quite often. So now, on the next slide, you'll see that these are industry-specific job boards. So Dice very popular in the IT job search industry. So you want to check out Dice. Another one is called Stack Overflow. Another one is Flex Jobs. And another one is it's the Ladders, but when they have their logo, it just says Ladders. But the Ladders is also really good for information about career search, about preparing for interviews and things like that. We're here to help you, but I know sometimes you may get an email at 5 in the afternoon. Hey, can you come and talk to us tomorrow? We'd like to talk to you about this position. These websites are helpful in just preparing the night before, just in case you don't have one of us available. So these are great resources that you can go to, and there's much more. I can give you others in the resource list. So it'll be about 10, maybe 12 different links that you can go to, and I'll categorize it so for each of the subjects so that you'll know how to go back and revisit some of this information. So you want to definitely check these websites out for IT industry specific jobs. Okay. And so okay. So some of these job boards that we talked about, some of the information I shared with you, can you tell me how much of this information is news? How much of this information you heard before, and have you used any of these resources? Have you ever heard of ONET before? Okay, so ONET, crucial. You want to make sure that you just put that in your save bar, your book mark. You want to make sure you save that, and you'll revisit that for a variety of different reasons. How many of you heard of, I know you've heard of LinkedIn, right? Everybody's heard of LinkedIn. Who has LinkedIn profiles? How about you guys online? Any of you have LinkedIn profiles? You can raise your hand. You can put in the chat. I do. But it's interesting to know how many of these resources that you guys may have heard of. How about these? Any of the IT websites? Have you ever heard of those? You have?
Stack Overflow, but not the others.
Okay. And I think Stack Overflow is broader. And I think the other ones might be specific. Maybe the Ladders might be broader, and they do different industries, but they're used widely for IT. So how many of you have LinkedIn profiles? Oh, you do. You're gonna friend me? No, it's connect, right? I get it mixed up. Are you gonna connect with me? And do you? You do? Excellent. And you, okay. Yeah, how many of you are using them for jobs? Browsing? Okay. LinkedIn is a very resourceful site. You can do it to browse, you can do it to connect with people, but as I said, you remember how many recruiters use that. I remember when I looked up that statistic maybe about 2 years ago, and it said 67% of the recruiters in the United States use LinkedIn for finding people. Now, the most recent one says 77% use LinkedIn. So again, they're looking for jobs while you're sleeping. I mean, looking for candidates while you're sleeping. So that would be an excellent way to get out there. So, okay.
It's also a good opportunity for you to look for internships
Mhm.
and, just another opportunity if you're looking to get into an industry where you can have, you can schedule informal interviews where you can have a time to interview a potential employer.
Mhm.
That's good use of.
Yeah, definitely. And the next subject we're going to talk about is networking. And of course, LinkedIn is great for networking because as Ms. Kay said, you can go and you're interested in working at a company. Say you want to work at Leidos. Leidos is my dream job company. I want to work there. Like some people may say NIH, I want to work for that company. You should have target companies that you want to work at. And you should research those companies. And so with that, there's some of the networking strategies that we were talking about was LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn It is a professional website, professional social media. So you can go and find somebody who works at Leidos and say, hey, I just graduated, or I'm interested in going into this field. You're doing the job I want to do. Of course, you're going to make it nicer sounding than that. But basically, that's the gist of what you want to let them know. Can you please share some information with me about that job? I have a client, and this worked out wonderfully for us. She wanted to become a teacher. She's a concert pianist, so she wanted to become a music teacher at Montgomery County Public Schools. And my director knew somebody, so she connected me with him on LinkedIn, and then I connected him with her. On her LinkedIn profile, she has pictures, and that's what I like about LinkedIn. You can add stuff to LinkedIn that you can't put on a resume. That's inappropriate, you know. But on LinkedIn, you can have pictures, you know. You can use that to the, you know, to really launch and market your skills. As an artist, it's not crazy that she has pictures of her on a piano in front of an orchestra teaching classes. So that further validates and solidifies her experience as a teacher and her level of experience. She had her whole career history on LinkedIn. When she had it in her resume, it was 4 pages. The only ones that really will accept 4 pages and not blink an eye sometimes is IT. They just want to know everything. They want to know absolutely everything. You should have 2 forms of your resume. When you're writing an IT resume, you can have a shorter version and you can have a longer version. Sometimes, and have a longer version in case an employer says, hey, can you expand on this information? And then you can say, well, I have a longer resume. If you go to the interview, bring both. Bring the one that you sent to them, but we'll say, well, this is a more detailed resume. So it's always good to have a master resume, because sometimes the industry may require more details, like medical, research, education, IT. They want more information. In the government, any government job, they want to know everything you've done since you were 18. Yes, ma'am.
What would you say is like the difference between a master resume and a CV? I never understood.
Okay. Well, there's resumes, master resume, CV. So CVs are usually longer resumes with more information. Most in the United States are appropriate for academia, science, research. So that will have more information. It may include some research papers you've written or research you've worked on. So they want more information. So that is a CV, curriculum vitae. And CVs are more popular in other parts of the world, not so much here in the United States. However, doesn't mean that you can't have one. So if you're going into those industries, academia, science, medical, I might have skipped one, but that is what they would ask for. However, international CVs might have, if you're divorced, if you're your age and all that other stuff. Some countries will require that, right? But not here in the United States. So if you're doing a CV for here, it's just a longer resume with more detail and not that personal, not that type of demographics on there. So, and then a master resume is, back in the day, when I was, they weren't even looking for resumes, we would have master applications. Every job you ever worked in your whole life. And it's just, a list that, who you work for, your supervisor's name and all that other stuff. Now, resumes are in demand. People are not doing paper applications unless they decide to hire you, then they'll have you come in and do that, but not beforehand. And the master resume, you can go back to, like, my first job was in 1988, my first professional job, right? I did things back then that are just as relevant now as they were then, because I started out working with people with disabilities, and I did that for a really long time. There's a lot of unique skills that's required for that job, but they're transferable, right? So when I went into education, I used my background when I was working with people with disabilities, because I was teaching them things. I had to record behavioral charts, and I had to do all these different things. So a master resume is something you can draw on when you're writing a resume now. Say you did something 20 years ago, not yet, but say you did something 20 years ago, right? And it's relevant to the job you're applying to. You don't have to list the job, but you can look at the skills that you used at that time and you can put it in your resume as under your skill set, right? Because they're relevant. You don't have to list that job 20 years ago, just what you did. And those are skills that you know and have. So master resumes are good for that, because I have thought of things and I was like, yeah, I did use Excel and had to do charts back in 1988. I'll go to my master resume, charts, and put it on there as a skill that I have. So that helps, and it's something that's almost like a living document. You just keep adding stuff to it, especially when you're in a job and you do something special, put that in your master resume. So when you have to update your resume, it's already there, right? So professional industry affiliations, you can join different IT associations. I've joined workforce associations. And when you join the, and align yourself with those type of professional groups, you meet people and people meet you and you like them, they like you, you have conversations, and people like to help people they like. So they may say, hey, you know what? You've been talking to me about your journey in your IT industry pathway or whatever, and my company's hiring. And when you use a person who knows you, that's a network, right? And when they refer you to somebody in their job about the type of person you are, the type of worker you are, those people get hired much higher, at a much higher rate than a person who walks in off the street, because they're taking that person's word for it. And they're not going to vouch for you if you're going to crash and burn, right? So making these types of relationships on a professional level is networking. A lot of people think networking is going out and schmoozing, but it's not. You're learning from people, you're sharing information, volunteering. We have websites that you can look at. Montgomery County Volunteer, you can go on there and volunteer for nonprofits, especially in data, web building, any of those things, because nonprofits can really use that type of help. You can learn, you can grow your skill set, and they're going to vouch for you. Yeah, they came and built this beautiful website for us, right? And then their vouching for you validates your skills. You can go to meetups, there's Facebook groups, do the professional ones, face groups, and then associations. So those are just some easy ways to network.
And if I may add, also, when you join these professional industry affiliations or associations, when they have a lot of conferences, that's actually a really good time to volunteer as well. Because you get to meet who's who in the industry, and everybody loves a good volunteer. So you may start off at the front at the registration desk, or then maybe have you back. So it's really a good way to get.
Very good. And some other ways is that when you meet people, you can get referrals and recommendations from them. As I said, sometimes when you're volunteering, you may be working next to the executive director. Whereas if you went to go walk through the door with your resume, they're like, no, you're not going to meet him or her. They're busy. But if you go to their website, their Facebook website, their corporate website, you do some research, like I would love to work at Bose Allen. Go to their website, find out what some of their initiatives are, find out if they're doing volunteer benefits around, and volunteer. And you may be standing right next to the person who can hire you, human resources officer. You could be standing next to the executive director, and when you're volunteering to help them, you're bringing them services and you're bringing them your skills, and they appreciate that. And they're not thinking, oh, they're just here for a job, although you might be, but you will at least have their ear for a little while, right? Informational interviews, as I mentioned, using LinkedIn, you can talk to somebody who's doing the job you want to do. You can talk to somebody who knows somebody who's doing the job you want to do. And you can request an informational interview. So as I mentioned, my director put me in connection with a teacher, a music teacher at MCPS, who I put in touch with my client. And that person then said, hey, speak to this lady in MCPS. And so she has, over a period of time, met with this lady, had a music assessment, and just waiting to see whether or not, she'll be approved to be a music teacher if they can find a spot. That's networking. And that's just you introducing people to other people. So with that in mind, if we were to think about our networking or our network, how many of you right now can say, oh, I can call on this person to give me information or to align with me in finding a job? How many of you have somebody you can say is in your network right now? You don't have to tell me their last name, but who would it be?
My professors will run that, Barb, who's been in touch.
Okay, excellent. A professor who has been in cybersecurity for years. Excellent resource, especially if you're trying to get into that cybersecurity industry, right, or field. Do you have somebody you can call on?
Yeah, I have a friend who does web design. He just recently got
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you can network without sounding, like desperate. Oh, please, can you help me? Can you help me? You can just say, when they say, hey, how you doing? Or I want to call and just let you know what I've been up to. I'm taking classes in IT and I'm really excited about it. You're in IT. I just wanted to let you know I'm on this IT journey, and just let them know what you're doing so that they're aware. And then when you graduate, hey, guess what? I graduated. I'm so excited. I got that credential. I'm going to start, this wonderful career. And then later you say, hey, do you think anybody in your industry is or your company is hiring? But not like Monday and then Tuesday and then Wednesday, space it out. And then also you're asking for information, bring them information. If you know their kid loves softball, hey, I saw this softball sign up. I just sent it, because I thought you might be interested. So don't always go asking for information, give them information. Do you have somebody you can call on in your network?
No.
Okay, you're gonna work on that though, right? Stop thinking. Yep. Well, you got a network of friends here. So when they get jobs, they have to help you. Okay, and then directly contacting the company. You can do that, but it might not be as easy, but that is also networking. Let them know you're out there, let them know you're looking. They may not be able to hire you now, but they may call you in the future.
And if I may also add, don't underestimate the people that you know. A lot of times we overlook people that we know. You don't know who knows somebody who knows somebody. So when you're networking, you should be able just to talk to people in your family, your friends. You don't know who knows somebody. And I've learned this from experience. I met this lady many years ago who was a cleaner. This company I used to work for, and every day she would be cleaning a back, and people were often very rude. And one day I asked her a question. I asked something about if she needs some supplies, and I was like, "Oh, you told the owner of the company." She chuckled. And she goes, "I am the owner."
Ah.
You
Excellent.
know?
Mhm.
I was like, she goes, "Yeah, we cleaned this building, we cleaned that building, we had buildings." And she goes, "Yeah, but I had my sons running the business." But she was the owner of the company.
Mhm.
She would just come and fill in every now and then. So you never know.
Exactly.
So I always say, be nice to everybody that you meet, and never underestimate somebody because of the position that they're in. You
Mhm.
don't know who they are,
Mhm.
or how they got there. You don't know. So it just pays to that,
Mhm.
and just that.
Yeah, absolutely. I keep telling myself this for years. I'm going to do my resume and make it part of the networking process. But I have gotten, I want to say 90% of my jobs through networking. My very first job, very first professional job, I was working with people with disabilities. My mother-in-law worked there, so she referred me. I started working with people with disabilities. That was my first job. Then when I wanted to work in public schools, my sister's best friend was a principal, and I was like, hey, can you get me into, the public schools in Boston? She was like, yeah, sure. I don't have anything, but I'll introduce you to my principal friend. So she introduced me to that person, and that started my career in education. And a lot of I had assignments. So that is because I wasn't a tenured teacher. So I would go to another school and I was referred to that school and so forth. And then also being in the right place at the right time. I was in a workshop and I was doing interviewing skills. I was in the audience. And so I told them about my HR background. And so after the workshop, she said, do you want to come and work for me? I need a person. And just by being in the right place, traveling in the circles where you want to be, right? So, and I could go on and on and on. I got into workforce through a friend who worked at WorkSource Montgomery. Hey, apply for this job. I applied for it. Then when I was in that job, they said, hey, I got another contract opening up. Get on that one. Then the next one and the next one. All the jobs that I have gotten all the way up until February was through a contact from somebody that I knew and said, hey, we need somebody in my agency or organization who has your skill set. And she hired me. I've known her since 2008, and we've worked off and on different contracts throughout Montgomery County. But that's, you never know. Let people know what you're up to and what your journey is, because they may think, oh, you know what, I can help her. I remember she said that XYZ. So let people know, casually, and bring them information. Don't always ask for information. So let it be reciprocal. We can go to the next. So networking is really the #1 way to find a job. And you may not think so, but when you really look at the statistics, networking is a lot more prevalent than you think. So quick discussion. After hearing these tips, how can you leverage your network? So you mentioned you knew somebody. You mentioned you knew somebody. And you knew somebody. No, you didn't know anybody. So how do you think you can start? What is the first thing you're going to do to either grow your network or to start a network? So I'll give you a second, unless you already thought about it.
I assume like go to conferences and just events and just try to talk to people.
Yep, you can look for those things online. You can say cybersecurity event in Montgomery County 2023, whatever. And you'll get so much information, right? And we already asked, can you name at least 2 people? So we got your feedback, but you want to figure out, how am I going to leverage this so that I can go out and grow my network? You can go to
Online, somebody says participate in job fairs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Participating in job fairs. Thank you, online person. Yeah, because when you go to job fairs, you are getting information, but that's your opportunity to make friends, right? That's your opportunity to make an impact on the employer, right? You can ask them, well, what are you doing? What is your company doing coming up that I might be able to participate in? Are they doing some kind of volunteer back to school bag giveaway? So job fairs are a great resource because everyone is there for that purpose. That's networking, that's sharing information, that's finding resources. So job fairs are a great opportunity. I met so many people. When I go to job fairs, I just collect business cards. I'm networking from my side of the table. So same difference, yep.
I would also highly recommend that you all update your LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
LinkedIn is a great resource for you all to be able to connect with people, right? So updating your LinkedIn should be the first thing. And then also looking at internship opportunities that Montgomery College offers. Take advantage of those. Volunteering, as was mentioned, there's definitely a lot of opportunities that you can put yourself out there. And when you go to the job fair, so some of you might say, well, I'm not graduating anytime soon. I think sometimes, especially Montgomery College has amazing job fairs, stop by. Just stop by, pick up a card, have a conversation with somebody. You may not need the job now, but you have the contact, and guess what? You can connect with them on LinkedIn. And you can ask them, well, I'm not graduating now, but I'm interested in an internship. Do you have any opportunities for upcoming grads? Or, there are programs for college students, and taking advantage of those. So, make sure that you take that.
Absolutely. So we're going to update our LinkedIn. We're going to look for opportunities to grow our network by participating in events, activities, conferences, wherever you can get out there where people are doing what you would like to do. And another thing about the job fairs, like Ms. Kay was saying, if you go there and you're not looking for a job and you're looking for information, then they look at you kind of like a mentee, and they want to share that information because you're just excited about their industry. Yeah, sure, yeah. And you say, well, can I ever, maybe if I have a question, can I shoot you an email, to ask a question to make sure I'm doing the right thing? A lot of times, they'll like, yeah, sure. They'll give you their business card. They gave it to you willingly. So when you email them, they're not going to say, oh, this guy, So it's a great resource. And a lot of times people think they don't have that access to that resource. You do. So it's just really, and thanks for that comment about the job fairs. So the next slide, we will talk about follow up, wrapping it up, bringing it full circle, following up. A lot of times people, like I said, they upload the resume, they hit send, and then they wait for the job offers to come like manna falling from the sky, right? But you're saying, well, they never contacted me. I don't understand. I sent them my resume. The competition is really steep, okay? So you may, and I looked up the statistics and I can't commit it to memory, but I think I read last night, 250 applications for qualified people per job. And out of those 250 average, they'll only look at or consider 40 to 50. And then on top of that, they're going to narrow it down even further, depending, So the competition is steep. It's not like you're not qualified. It's not like you don't have anything to offer. It's just that there's a lot of people out there who are as savvy as you all are going to be, and they are following up. They're sending thank you emails. How many of you send thank yous when you meet somebody at a job fair or have a job interview or anything? Do you send thank yous?
Need to do more.
Yeah, and you can just have a template. It doesn't have to be brand new. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I will comment. So, I have a recruiting background, and whenever people got back to me with a thank you, my eyes were open and oh, this person actually took the time
Mhm.
to say thank you.
How considerate.
How considerate, so thank yous are key.
Mhm.
We know that you're going to this interview. Most of the time, we have an idea of who we're meeting with. Kind of just, hey, it doesn't have to be lengthy. You definitely want to thank the person for meeting with you. You also want to maybe touch on one or two things that stood out during the interview that you discussed, right? And then that's it. It doesn't have to be long. And I would be so, oh, this person was paying attention.
Mhm.
Oh, this person.
They
So,
like me.
yeah,
They really
so
like me.
thank yous are to make sure you send a thank you after you meet with somebody, after you interview with somebody, even if you're just casually meeting somebody that you want to bring into your network, right? It doesn't hurt. Thank you, Kim, for meeting with me. I enjoyed the time that you took out of your busy day to chat with me. That's simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. Okay?
And if you really want to be fancy, try to think of something in the conversation that you can add to the thank you that will spark their remembrance of you. So one of the things you could do is if they have something in the office, say they have, a golf award, or you see a golf tee and a ball or whatever. Oh, you play golf? Yeah, I play golf. I always wanted to play golf. I think I'm gonna get into that. When you say, thank you so much, and I appreciate your time, and yada yada yada. One day I'm going to get to those golf lessons. I look forward to hearing, something like that. And they're like, oh yeah, that was the lady that was talking to me about golf, then they put a face with the name. Also, when you go to job fairs, when you get their business card, do the same thing. Oh, I like that pink sweater, red sweater, pink, fuchsia, magenta. I like your sweater. It's really a pretty color. I think, I like that color or whatever, think of something like that and put it on the back of their business card. So when you get their business card, I talked to them about their tie. They told me their son plays Little League or something like that. So that when you email them, I was the one talking to you about Little League. And they're like, oh yeah. Okay. So try to think of some way to bring them back to their remembrance. And then that's, again, another way to really draw that relationship. And so you want to, and there's so many websites you can write a professional thank you letter. There's tons. So you can always go, and one of the places I really like is the Balance Career. It's the Balance/careers. But if you go to the Balance and you look under careers, they have so many different templates, and it's all free. And I really like the woman who does most of the writing. Her name is Allison Doyle. She is at Harvard, and she's written so many different articles and participated in so much research and finding information about career services and all that other stuff. It's a very reliable and very relevant website. Okay, now reaching out after submitting your resume, you want to do it like within a day. You submit your resume. I'm just following up. I submitted my resume, whatever, right? You want to do that as quickly as you can, so one day is good, especially if you had an interview. Thank you within 24 hours, no later than 48 hours. They've already forgotten you after that. So you want to do it while they remember you. And then you want to follow up and say, oh, I just wanted to make sure you got my resume, yada, yada, yada. If I don't hear from you, I'll follow up in a week, to make sure that it made it to the right channels or whatever. But let them know you're going to call and you're going to follow up. When you send your cover letter, at the bottom is how you're going to reach out to them again. Thanking you so much for your time and consideration of this position. I really look forward to talking to you further about my skill set. I'm going to follow up in a week. I'm going to follow up in a day, but let them know you're going to follow up. So they're anticipating that, right? And so forth. And again, do not stalk or harass the employer. I know it is hard to resist, but you are not their toppity top priority. They got other people that they have in the coffer. They're considering everybody. You're the best candidate for the job, but they have to come to that conclusion themselves. And if you stalk or harass, they're going to put you at the bottom of the pile, upside down under a rock or something. They're going to lose you. So I used to work in human resources, and when people used to stalk me, I was like, oh, this person cannot possibly work for me. They're going to follow me around all day long, And so you have to be professional. You have to have professional boundaries, professional etiquette. And also sometimes things get lost in the translation, and you should do some research on email etiquette, or general business etiquette. We used to have to take that as part of our training. And I had one of my clients didn't hear back from the employer when the employer said, and she sent them an email, and the bottom line, the last line was, I'm awaiting your reply in the results of my interview ASAP. Now, she could have just put an exclamation point because it would have had the same effect. I said, you can never say ASAP. I said, you have to talk to them very nicely, very sweetly. I appreciate your time. I know you're a very busy person, and yada, yada, yada. Don't give them ultimatums. Don't give them the ASAPs, because needless to say, she's still waiting to hear about that interview. And I told her, I said, ASAP, you can use with a friend, you can use jokingly or something like that, smiley face, LOL, but you never put that in any business document unless you are the supervisor telling your subordinate, you have not turned in this report. I've been waiting past a week. I want it ASAP. They have the authority to do that. You could tell your kids, your younger brother or sister, get that chore done ASAP. Not an employer. You'll never hear from them. So just make sure you're maintaining business etiquette. And so the next thing we want to talk about is dealing with rejection. It's all part of that. It's a reality. It's a reality of job search. Not everyone is going to get that job. And, they have 10, 15, 20 people, depending, that they're interviewing. Somebody's getting rejected. Unless like the government, they say, oh, I have 6 openings. You figured you have, a chance at 6 chances to be considered. However, a lot of times it's just one position. So just develop a thick skin. Just because you're rejected doesn't mean you're not competent. It doesn't mean that you're, not competent and a good fit. They just found somebody else who more closely matched the skill set. That's what I used to send out in my emails. Oh, unfortunately, you found somebody whose skill set more closely matches, blah, 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 blah. So, and also, they may not ever contact you and tell you you're not being considered. They may just ghost you completely. Accept it. That's life. That's the way it is. Because time is money, money is time. That's how it is in the United States. They don't have the time, especially for recruiters in some cases, because they got to move on and fill the next position, fill the next position. That's how they get paid, So sometimes they may not be the most sensitive, oh, they're just still waiting. Just know, and the thing is don't hang your hat on one job. Just because that's your dream job, keep looking. because if you get rejected, you have other jobs in the pipeline that you've applied to. And that one job isn't the deal breaker. A lot of people will do that and they apply for a job and they'll go, okay, I'm just going to wait for the offer. And they lose a week or two waiting for this thing that never happens. So keep looking, keep looking, keep looking, right? And then after dealing with rejection, I want to talk to you a little bit about the emotional roller coaster. Don't you love those eggs? I thought they were so cute. I think I go through all of those emotions like before my first cup of coffee. Yeah, I think I do that. But the emotional roller coaster is a real thing because not having a job or looking for your next job can be very emotionally tumultuous. You can go through a cycle of emotions. You could go through it in a day, you can go through it in a month, you can go through it over a period of months, but it tends to have that same kind of pattern. You're optimistic. Yeah, you know what? I got laid off. So what? I'm gonna use this opportunity to reinvent myself. I'm gonna go take some classes. I'm gonna do some online. I'm gonna do all these different things. And you're excited of that next thing that's gonna happen in your life, right? So you go from optimism to excitement, then you're thrilled, and then you're euphoric. Then you get to the top of that list and you may have an upset. Oh, I can't start the classes until fall. Oh, I need childcare. Oh, my car died, you know? And so something can happen and then you start that little slippery slope and you start to go down, you start to feel anxiety and denial. Oh, this is never gonna happen. Oh, what am I gonna do now? And then you go through all of these different emotions and then you get down to where you see the bottom where it says a desperation. And my glasses on, I think it says desperation. That's where some people end up taking, I'll take a job, any job. When a person comes to me and I say, well, what kind of job are you looking for? I'll do anything. I'll do anything. I don't care. I don't care. I just want a job. Now you have to say, okay, let's be realistic. And so you have that meeting with them and say, you know what? Any job can be okay for the time being. That's a bridge job. That's something that gets you over until, you know, pays your bill, get your car insurance paid or whatever. But don't get stuck where you'll take anything and stay there. So that bottom, you know, valley, you don't want to stay in that, you know, you don't want to stay in despair. And if you find that you're not coming out of it and you're not finding ways to give yourself renewed hope, you can stay there and become chronically depressed. And you may not realize it. And you may just say, well, you know, this is just because. You need to be mindful of where you are emotionally in everything you do before you get a job, when you first get the job, after you get the job. Any of this can happen, but that is an emotional roller coaster that you might experience during the loss of a job. You know, so just be mindful of where you are. And if you can't find things, and that's what we're here for. We're here to help give you hope. We're like, you know what, you can do this and you can do that. I got this services, I got that services. So that's what we do. And we try to help people find ways to be, you know, to get out of that valley. Okay. So keep your finger on the pulse of your emotions, and also talk to your family and friends and say, you know what, if I don't feel better in a week, you know, you check with me or something like that, you know, and put somebody on, you know, on watch and say, you know what, I'm trying to call me. If I don't call you, let's go do something. You can go walk for free. So it doesn't take money to do everything. You can hug a tree for free. They don't hug you back. I just want to let you know, they don't hug you back, not all the time. But you could do a lot of things out there that, you know, can be emotionally uplifting. Walking, listening to music, and so forth. We have a whole thing on self-care. So that is that. And I believe we're coming around the bend. Now, my favorite line is failing to plan is planning to fail, right? Again, upload resume, send, wait for job offer. That's not how it works, unfortunately, right? You have to have a plan, and we call it the employment campaign. Why do we call it the employment campaign? Would you like to venture a guess? Why is the employment campaign?
You are traveling around trying to metaphorically drum up support to sell yourself, to be a candidate.
Absolutely. And candidates go out there and they put everything they got into it. They have a whole team of people. You're going to have your networking team. You're going to have your family and friends. You're going to have your former colleagues. That's a team that's going to help you, but you have to do the work. 95% of finding a job is on you, the job seeker, right? So you have to have a plan. you know, because things are not going to come together unless you've thought about what the possibilities are, right? You may be aiming too low. I think if you're working and you're looking for a job and you're serious about that, you should at least do 5 applications a day. Some people say 10. She said 10 applications a day, 50 applications a week. I want to report. No, I'm joking. But really, you want to be on top of your plan. You want to be on top of that. You want to know I am touching all the bases. And if you notice, I have some in blue. That's the job search activities. You can't have 100% of your time devoted to job search activities because you'll implode. Emotionally, spiritually, physically, you'll collapse, right? So you have to do those things. You have to network, use LinkedIn, you use job boards, sharpening your tools. That means improving your resume, improving your cover letter, making sure you have references before you need references. That's part of your tool. Connecting with those people who agree to be your references before you call them out the dark and find out, oh, they moved to Istanbul, you know? So you need to stay on top of all your tools and research the jobs, research the company, research the industry, research the demand. Do they still need nurses like they did? They do, but you know, do they still need as many and so forth? What's my competition, right? And then you have your self-care. We're very big on self-care. Career catchers, we're huggers, right? And we want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself because Maya Angelou said, if you don't work, nothing will. And not work necessarily, you know, working like a cobbler work, but if you're out of sync, if you're not sleeping right, eating right, exercising and doing all those things, if you don't work, nothing will. Especially if you're the caretaker or you're the head of the household, you know, any of those things, you know, so you have to make sure that you're together because you can't, like the analogy on the planes, put the oxygen mask on yourself before you help somebody else. So you got to make sure that you're together. You got to make sure that you're whole. You got to make sure that you're keeping your finger on the pulse of your emotional roller coaster, right? So some of those things, and these are examples. I'm a visual person, so this would work for me. I would print this and put it on the wall next to my computer or something like that. But you notice you have to strike a balance. If you have kids, you got to feed them. They know you got them. They're on the grid. Okay. So you got to feed and take care of your family. You got to make meals. You got to hang out with them, social. You know, there's 5 areas, 7 areas, and they can expand it. But, you know, there's physical, social, spiritual, financial, and emotional. Those are just some general categories that makes a person a whole. And they're pie, you know, servings and so forth. And they won't always be totally balanced. But if you're 50% job search and you only have little slivers of the other things, you're going to be so consumed and overwhelmed. Before I got into this industry, when I was looking for a job, I would wake up at 2 in in a panic because I had kids. I was like, oh, I got to get a job. And I would get up at 2 in, get on a computer, and I was like, upload, send. And I didn't get a job because I wasn't doing it right and I didn't know how to do it. You know, this was years and years ago. That's when I was on the other side of the table as an HR. It's different when you're looking for a job than when you're trying to recruit. Different set of skills. And I thought that's all I had to do. Send a resume. Cover letter. You know, I was sending cover letters, doing little stupid things like not changing the date, put the wrong date up there, or not put the right employer. You have to do this methodically and systematically. And so you want to make sure that you're hitting all of the areas that will help the job search come together, right? Contact companies, do your research, update your portfolio, which could be LinkedIn. Some people have, a lot of IT people have their web pages. I forget what it's called exactly, but it's their private LinkedIn kind of thing, you know, what services they provide and so forth. So have all these things into play. And of course, these are just some things that I came up with, but you know, you may have a different set of self-care activities, but you have to include them all, right? And I think that might be it. Okay, our final discussion. Share one thing that you've learned from this session. What have you learned today? I'm gonna start with you because you was here first.
I learned a lot of online resources. Finding what I'm interested in or jobs.
Excellent. Okay, great. And how about you? What did you learn today?
I'm very appreciative of the distinction between CV and master resume, but also similar to him, all the industry, like.
The
textbooks
online
and
resources?
stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Online resources for those of you there in the cyber world, online resources and the difference between a CV and a resume. That was helpful. And how about you? What did you learn today?
A lot of things, but one thing that kind of stood out to me, is the fact that people would appreciate a thank you.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to assume that someone is doing a job, but we are humans after all, so like, I would assume don't bother them, but I mean, busy. You know,
Mhm.
busyness.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So realizing the importance of a thank you, the resources that are available out there for you, and just knowing the difference between the tools that you're using. So those are some great things. And anybody online, if you can put in the chat anything you've learned today, that you will, take, moving forward, you'll use.
Somebody just asking for the links to the different that you mentioned, I think is in another slide, right?
Yep. They're going to be sent following this. Everybody's provided their emails. So we'll generate a resource list. If you haven't provided your email, please make sure you leave it with us legibly, and we will send it out to you. Send out the resources. It'll be categorized according to the topics and the links that were used and some other things that will be useful. And then you can go. You're welcome. And next slide. So, any other questions?
Do you know any resources for like people that are not really used to or practice in like socializing or like meeting up, like how to connect essentially, because I know in the IT world, like hard skills were like valued, like, and rightly so, but recently the IT industry has come around to more like valuing like the social skills, the soft skills.
Spot
which are
on.
really important and overlooked, but I don't really know of any resources.
You have two standing right here. We do so many workshops, and we're going to share with you some of the way to access our workshops, and so that you can participate in the ones that we do on a regular basis. Okay, and they're free, and you can just come and log in and attend. And then the social aspect is very true, because back in the day, they just sat in a dark room and they read a lot of ones and zeros, and that's what they did, and that's all they did, right? But now they have so many more aspects in the industry that they have realized that people who are short on soft skills aren't as successful, because they have to play nice in the sandbox, right? So they have to be able to communicate and be able to follow up, and they have to be able to prioritize and those type of things. Whereas before, they just would hand them a stack of things to do and they would just do it. It has grown so much. And as you know, with AI, they also have to have people who can program those types of bots, who knows how to respond under certain circumstances. So yeah, and there's a lot of other resources we can share with you too. So it's out there. So we'll invite you to come to our workshops. And then also if you have any questions, and then if I think of anything, I'll send that to you. But also going to different things like Toastmasters, how to speak in public, but it also helps you to carry yourself and be eloquent in variety of things, in variety of situations. There's meetups, there's social meetups. You can go to Meetup, which I believe is all virtual now. I don't think they've gone back to in person, and just talk to people, not saying this is you, but if somebody has, I have social anxiety and I would like to be able to talk more freely, you can find people that just have conversation groups just to talk, you could talk about books or whatever, there's groups out there. All you have to do is Google communication groups and you'll get so much information. You can Google anything. Like one of my former CEOs used to say, it's Googleable. He made that word up, I guess. It's Googleable. So you don't have to say, well, I don't know, because you can Google anything. So that is my offer of advice. And do you have any other questions?
I don't know if they would.
Okay. Okay, well,
Maybe.
yeah,
Oh, I can.
yeah.
Oh, I was just, wanted to ask if you had any recommendations for like recent graduates or, people still in school when it comes to federal resumes. I recently just tried to like, look for internships on USA, like jobs and stuff. And, it's really hard looking at the templates where all of these templates are catered towards people that are internally moving in agencies. And so, like for me, I'm still a student. I don't know how to like.
I'll share one of my best resources for federal resume writing, where you can ask questions and there's a dialogue, and there's people on there who have been writing resumes as attendees, and so you learn even from the attendees. Is virtual, and they also do have one in person, but it's called POAC, POAC, which stands for Professional Outplacement Assistance Center. But POAC, and we can send that information as well. They have federal resume writing workshops. I attended myself just to make sure that I was still understanding what, I thought I knew. And it was so great, and you could say that question, hey, what would I do? And the people who do that workshop have so much experience, and they're certified federal resume writers, and they belong to the groups and all that other stuff. So it was very good. So I would suggest that as one of my resources. Yeah. Forgot to mention that part. Yeah, POAC, and we can include that in the resources. Yeah, and they are the Department of Labor and Licensing, now known as Maryland Department of Labor. I have to remember to use their new name, but yeah, so they're the great resource, and they have a lot of workshops on there as well that are virtual. Any other questions? Well, I think I did a pretty good job if I don't have 2 questions. Okay. So you can go to the final slide. It should be one more. Yeah. The next slide is going to be an invitation, or just how you can get in touch with us and see what workshops that we have coming up that you may be able to do before we do our next one here. We do twice a week. On Wednesdays, we do we do empowerment workshops, empowerment hour workshops. So we help people feel, we talk about self-care, and we talk about the power of saying no. We talk about atomic habits. We talk about dealing with depression and anxiety. We talk about the anxiety of not finding a job. So it has to do with a lot of the personal and emotional things that people may go through. Looking for a job, getting into a new job can be emotionally, taxing. So we offer empowerment hours. And then we also have job clubs on Tuesdays, and they're all virtual. So we want to welcome you to attend our workshops. That is our website there, careercatchers.org/events/list. And when you go to that, it'll list all of our upcoming workshops that we offer for the month. We have people who come who are professionals, and they volunteer their time to help people learn about branding their own business, how to market yourself online using LinkedIn, how to improve your LinkedIn profile, and things like that. So we have a lot of resources available. And so that is our website. And then I believe, is that my last page? Oh, that's the QR code to the events list. So if you wanted to scan the QR code, and it'll take you there. I hope. I did that last night, but midnight, afterthought. I hope this works. But excellent. I rock. I'm gonna add that to my resume. QR code guru. Excuse me. So thank you so much. My name is Maria Dent Turner. I'm the senior career coach, and this is Kay Kunda. She's our program director, and she can add anything she'd like.
I just want to say thank you for attending. Thank you so much. And we hope to see you at the next workshop, which will be next month.
Yes.
Oh, we hope to see you at the next workshop, which will be next month. Thank you so much for attending today.
Thank you. And I just wanted to thank everybody for coming out. And in addition to the workshops, the new service here at the Hub is career coaching. It's one-on-one. So if you want to sit down with career catchers and get more individualized support on your career journey and getting into the tech field, very shortly, we will have a referral form and you can set up an appointment with them and they will take you all the way through. It will happen in person here at the Hub or virtually online. And there is some flexibility if the Hub is not accessible for you. There are other places in the community that they can meet with you. So please make sure that you stay in contact with us at the Hub as well. We have an events calendar as well that you can keep track of this opportunity, but we also have guest speaker series. We're also doing a free coding boot camp on Apple Swift Playgrounds in here this fall. So we're also offering programming that I think you'll be interested in as well. Thank you.